scatters when you play the beat, play the beat. A brainiac, in fact, press one.
You doing, man? You okay?
I'm good, Hector, but you're filming at a sexy angle and I'm sat straight on.
My usual angle, man. I can't do face on, bruv. I've got a jaw like fucking Grinch, so we don't do that. Gotta get the best angle possible, so this is what I get. It's up to you, man. I can hit record from the audio my side if you wanted to back up just in case.
Yes, let's do that.
Brother, it's good to meet you finally in the flesh / AI. You're as sexy as I thought you would be, so it's absolutely spot on. I mean, you look exactly like the AI generated image, so it's amazing.
I feel like I know you quite a bit already through making the rap competition together.
Yeah.
But do you feel the same way?
I don't know, man. I'm a behavior specialist, so I know everybody, even if I don't want to. The joys of ADHD and Yoda knowledge of behaviors, man, you're kind of stuck. So it's all good, though, man. But it's nice to finally meet you, mates. It is nice. And nice to be invited for an interview. I'm loving that.
And I've just clocked you are wearing a Disco Doc t-shirt too.
You see that? Wearing the merch, mate? I forgot to mention that. Of course I did. I ironed it and everything. It's my favorite shirt, mate. It fits. So just some merch, throw in there. It fits beautifully. You know, around the arms, mate, it looks bigger than what I actually am. I mean, it's amazing. It doesn't help in any other areas because I don't wear bottoms. But the point is, in the top half, it's fantastic.
Links are in the description.
Exactly. You're welcome.
Well, we were originally going to meet face to face at Secret Garden Party, but you couldn't make it. What could possibly be more important than that?
I know, mate. Living, apparently. Apparently, kids need feeding. So it's in the manual somewhere. You have to look after them. I have to feed them. I have to pay for shit as well. So can I swear on here? Because otherwise we are fucked straight from the off.
We both have quite a lot of swearing in our videos. I think it'll be okay.
I was just thinking that now. I was thinking this is going to be a very long editing process. It was Ruby J was messaging me and her dad and a few in her team as well. The idea was that I was going to be a reactor there as part of Ruby J's team. It was so exciting and doing that, but yeah, apparently living is more important. So I don't know, mate. It's one of those things. If I had the opportunity to do it again, I'd still pick work because the kids are more important. Not like one of those things where you're tapping out of it. I'm at that age, man, and people will get this. I'm at that age where it's like, yeah, that got in the way, but it's kind of like, yeah, well, that's life now, isn't it? Like, whereas years ago, I probably would have found the loophole to get there and struggled to get back.
So you say you're a behavioral scientist?
Behavior specialist is the best way to put it. It's on borderline. I would say psychology, but I can't be asked with the paperwork. So it's keeping it to practitioner level. Reading behaviors, mate. I've done that for almost 15, 20 years. I studied it more for my boy who's now 19 because he's autistic. So I started learning and I was teaching at the time. And then I started learning about myself, ADHD. And before I knew it, this whole neuroscience became part of my life. And I was realizing like, this is affecting how I teach, you know, and there's people in a room and emotional intelligence fell into my lap around the study of that, this whole sensing preference. And I'm a realist, so I don't believe in spirits and stuff like that. So it was answering questions there. And before I knew it, mate, 15, 20 years down the line, I'm now working with organizations and looking at behaviors, big piece of work doing with our own government in Wales, looking at behaviors and awareness and how to do better with people, and neuroscience is being included. It's amazing, bro. It's amazing. But a friend of mine said, a good friend of mine, Jono, he referred to it as Yoda Tigger. He said, like you're all over the freaking shop. He said, but people don't know that you know stuff. And he said, it's like someone like you is dangerous. You shouldn't have that Yoda knowledge with the fact there's a Tigger mentality.
And have you seen a change in dynamics since COVID? In the way that people interact in organizations, how they communicate with more remote working, etc.?
I think it's a good question, man. Yeah, and for the better, man. If COVID, you know, all the terrible things that happened was one of the best things from a learning point of view, because what I had is like people who I call think to speak, normally in a large environment, wouldn't say shit to me. They wouldn't say nothing. So I'm trying to analyze through my crazy freaking brain anyway, which is hard when you're not getting any data. But then when COVID hit, the coaching I was doing was more one-to-one. And I found then that these emotionally intelligent, the internal, what I call observers of data, more the autistic values, they were speaking more because they were at home in their homeostasis, like comfortable, and it's not surrounded by people. Bruv, I learned more from that experience that really like propelled my knowledge, and my whole career went from being a trainee who's funny, or as funny as he fucking thinks he is, to suddenly being recognized as this person knows some shit. And I luckily I got a good team around me that supported, but yeah, it actually worked for the better in the study, so that when we came back, I was preparing rooms and training for everybody. And you had these people who are normally so uncomfortable now, like, Mark, I feel all right in this room. It's like, yeah, I know, because you finally spoke.
So you think it's actually helped in terms of accessibility, neurodiversity, and different communication styles in the workplace?
Massively, man. And mental health, so people being able to talk openly and confidently about true feelings and feeling safe to do so, because I was there. I don't lead with I have emotional awareness but not intelligence, so my what I call emotions is very low. I mean, you know this more than others, mate. When someone starts setting standards and then I go, okay, we're gonna do this shit, and then suddenly poof, there's no caring. I wasn't raised that way. I was raised through trauma. It was just dragged up by an old man that didn't give a shit about life and other himself. So it's always trauma, and I'm the youngest. So emotions meant nothing. In my world, it was all about getting the job done, get a job, do this. And from a young age, you found yourself in this cycle.
You need to just get on and be a real man.
Yeah, it was like that. Be a real man, don't cry, that type of thing. But I was raised by my sister, and I've always had women influences. So although I was raised in this trauma, I shouldn't cry, but I was raised to be emotionally aware. And that's where I think the ADHD part started coming in, where I could read a room, but not because I cared, because I wanted to survive. And that's a big difference, man.
You had to pick up on those subtle cues.
Hell yeah, man. And that was that was a learning curve for me, big time. So I think that people sometimes think like, we should care more. I don't give a fuck, because I'm not equipped with that. And people go, oh, everyone's equipped. You're not. There's volumes to this, man. You got to understand it. So that was an interesting learning curve to hear that out loud. And like, I didn't go into the psychology because I don't believe in the system at the moment. I don't believe it's equipped well enough to deal with education before medication. I don't think it is. You've still got old school doctors who've been there for years who are respected, rightfully so, but still have the analysis that medication cures stuff. Where now I think education will help before medication, and I think that's where I didn't take the step from practitioner into psychologist, but now I am. So funny enough, I'm about to go on to, is it a degree level? So I've got psychology I'm about to step into, because I've got to the point as a practitioner, I run out of excuses, where it's now like people are asking me questions where I'm now talking about cognitive rejection and connection and why fight and flight. I'm delving in that world anyway. And a coach who's a specialist said, why aren't you a psychologist? I was like, I just can't be asked for the paperwork. And she was like, you're wasted. Like, stop it. You got to focus on that. So I was like, fuck it, let's do it. And I think I was learning about myself more than I was the kids along the journey, because I started learning ADHD. I hate the terminology. I now use the term creative mindset. And that's where I needed my blowout, because in work, I was dealing with this trauma, because I have to be logical, and I have to be, and this is that Yoda Tigger, and it's almost not forcing it, but raising that preference awareness of I have to be focused because these people need to know the answer. But there was a great video I did the other day for work, and they said, "What, you just see your brain squeeze thick because you're like, yeah, strategically we do it," and then you're like, oh shit, that's my yellow coming out, and then you could just see the realistic side coming out, and this almost Jekyll and Hyde moment of conscious, less conscious, just fighting each other in the moment. But yeah, it's good fun to try and control.
You've said a couple of times about finding a different way of looking at the world to understand your son. Are you trying to stop certain cycles from reoccurring, to stop history from repeating itself?
Trying to, man, and it is, with the kids, it's giving them a childhood of emotions, and it's that caring space, and that's the difference. People say when you see you in dad mode, there's this whole different persona. But I'm like, yeah, because my kids can be spoiled, and they can be, but they still understand that rooted ethics. I expect things and that because I want them to have a job and not be bums and this, but equally I want them to enjoy childhood. If you look across seas, there's so many countries that get it right where there's not this need for this percentage pass mark. It's freedom, it's exploration. Let them figure the world out for themselves, man. There's that element of that yin and yang, I think. And I think that freedom is what I do in Brain Squeeze, because it's like, this is my space. The missus knows. This is my chance to vent. I've been holding this in all week. Put Pink Floyd on. My fucking head's going to explode. Shut that door. We're good. And I think that helps as well. It's almost like therapy venting, where I can just be me for a good 20, 30 minutes. And that part I love.
But that's what makes your channel so authentic, because that just oozes out. It's obvious you aren't putting anything on. You're not trying to constrain yourself or present yourself in a certain way, or say the right thing so that you don't upset somebody. You're just unapologetically you.
Yeah, and I think it created that space, man. And then I started seeing others do that, and I found that people then were attracted to that. And the channel, my age demographics was all over the shop. We had youngsters for the Tupac side, and youngsters, I'm 38, but the point, you had younger generations in Tupac era and all this. But then I went into Led Zeppelin and I went into Pink Floyd, and I think the moment I did that first Pink Floyd reaction, that fucking hit me. Like, even now, I think I've got hairs because I just thought about the feeling, and my brain is obviously remembering that. My whole body was, fuck me, this is hitting me from all levels. And then I recognized, like, now I get it. I get it now why these Pink Floyd fans would be looking at nowadays music going, it doesn't have that. But the bit I'm trying to connect, and you say about that realistic, is that music for me is that guiding thought for trauma. So I remember, like, in everything going on, I'd always put my headphones in, or on, as they were back then, and I had my yellow Sony waterproof Walkman, and that would be on, and I'd have a tape that had, mate, this tape, bro, if I still had it, you'd have, this is no joke, Celine Dion Think Twice would always be the first song on there. There would be Whitney Houston would be on there, but then there'd be the Slim Shady My Name Is when that first came out, and also Marshall Mathers Kim was on there. I mean, what a fucking contrast of emotions that is. Then it would fall into oh my word, Ricky Martin, and then maybe some classics, because I was raised on the old school country music and stuff. It was just a minefield of stuff. So when I'm listening to music, I have that. I understand Tupac, but now I understand Floyd and I understand Led Zeppelin. What I don't like is when there's this is real music. I'm like, no, this is your music. This is yours. And this Tupac Johnny is that's your music. And yeah, they shouldn't cross. I get it. That's why it's called fucking genres, like picky genre. But they both have purpose and they have meaning. I won't say that about Diddy, but you can go. Yeah.
I'm the same with music. Growing up, I listened to a lot of Korn, System of a Down, Deftones, Nirvana, that sort of stuff.
Nice, man.
And a lot of punk. But I also love hip hop. Tupac, Nas, Eminem, Dre, Snoop. I don't mind some pop if I'm in the mood. And then I went through a period of listening to really dark, heavy trance and drum and bass.
Oh, yes, bro. I used to remix drum and bass. So on the channel, I've been dying to put out mine because I was raised on music. So my mom is still a singer and was a singer. And I was raised that. So I knew everything around music on how to create. So I always had that creative, but I like difference, ADHD. So I remember I did drum and bass with Rod Stewart, or I would take old songs and drum and bass them, and people would be like, what? Like, one of my favorite songs of a drum and bass remix is George Michael, Never Gonna Dance Again. I can't remember the tune, and people are gonna go nuts that I don't remember that, but there's a drum and bass version of that, and it is so good. It's like, fucking, that's crazy how drum and bass can, influence that energy. But I think Pink Floyd had the same thinking, because it was different. It was creating what you think is going to be rock or whatever the term was. But there was all this difference in there that takes you on a fucking journey where you're like, I don't know where the fuck I'm going, but I'm enjoying that journey.
Psychedelic rock wasn't it?
Yeah.
Some of the trippy Beatles stuff, Pink Floyd, Rolling Stones, they all had more commercial songs. But the more obscure stuff takes you on a journey. You just lie back, close your eyes and drift off.
Or in my case, fucking not shut up. But the point is, just on a journey, man. But yeah, and I think that's where the energy of, like you said, being unapologetically me. The channel was demonetized. You know, I had a dude the other day, and I'm happy to talk about it. He did a whole video saying about a culture vulture, and brain skews was brought up, and he said he'd be on 1 million followers. And I'm like, right, firstly, shut the fuck up, because you know I'm still Tupac is the #1 reacted on my channel, even these years on. And I learned, and he's my #1 listened to. So you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Second of all, you're starting to bring in this. You know, he's using it for what worth? I don't make single money. I do this to vent after all week coaching people. I'm fucked. I need something to vent and be me, and the music will take me wherever the hell it goes.
But what does that really mean? Culture vulture. So someone from one culture can't offer commentary on output from another culture? No one can consume or integrate or pay homage to another culture. Can't cross-pollinate? That's bullshit. All of society is cross-pollination in one form or another.
Shit, man. And obviously brain screws being as loyal as they fucking are. I made reference to it. Go, look, I've seen this guy. I mean, the dude's on Lesser channel, and I've put him in his right to go, because he said, oh, you see, there's no, and fucking idiot, because he said there's no Tupac. But as he's scrolling through, you've got Ransom, Temptations are there, you've got Ruby J there, you've got all these different artists from all different, but even Easy Mills there. And I'm like, dude, you couldn't have a more dynamic fucking reactor there. Like, you're an idiot. So I left it like that. But there was some of that brain squeeze army went over there, and I just saw these comments coming out. I just thought, well, you just shot yourself in the foot there, mate. So good luck with that. But I think this necessity, and don't get me wrong, when I first started with Tupac, I had a backlash. Like, I mean, look at me, bruv. I'm not built for Tupac, and I'd only heard little part. And I remember there was a massive thing because there was I did the Super Bowl, and there was a song that I just remember the do 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 do, and just a memory made. I was like, that's a fucking Tupac track. And I remember my brother had this CD. It wasn't the Outlaws one. It was,
I ain't mad at
y'all.
And
And it was just there, and it was just a memory. But because I'd said that in the ADHD, see, he does know Tupac. What the fuck? Like, I never said I didn't know. That's a ridiculous statement. I said I didn't understand him. I never sat and went, oh, I wonder what he's going to say next. But that's where I started learning YouTube, where I went, oh, I get it. So anything you say now, the retaliation's there. And Tupac, there was only one or two. It wasn't many, but there was one or two saying, see, you shouldn't be listening to this. That's why you don't understand. The whole point is to understand. It's to educate. I'm not going to understand at the beginning, you bellend. But that's why I need to listen, and you need to tell me. And I think the channel then started getting the message. But that was the same with all the artists. You know, it's like, give me a second to get Tom Mackie D. Give me a second to get Ren. Give me a second to make sense of who the fuck they are. And then I'll make my judgment. But yeah.
Every scene seems to have its gatekeepers. And it's counterintuitive. If you're into something and you really dig it, surely you want other people to get into it too. So why be a dick?
Yeah, don't be. I've got the mug here. Don't be a dick. Like Shezzies. And what I love, there was a few comments. I know these are comments that I love from the older generation that were like, if Tupac was here now, he would be watching you. And I love that because I trusted them. And these were old school that no. And they said if Pac was here, he'd be embraced. And those were the messages that I started listening to. But then, you know, that's when my journey then went this hyper-focused. And people went, you stop doing Tupac. Because I'd only gone to do this Eminem journey just to start a channel. I wasn't thinking any further than my own nose, just that's what I'm going to do. Then this Tupac fell in. Like, have you heard, you know, Conway the Machine? And I was like, all right, let's start this. But Tupac was the first artist where I went, oh, hello, there's something deeper here. And my education head went, this dude is a teacher. And now you've got my attention. And, you know, it was Black Panthers. And I was like, fuck me. Like, this dude went through so much. And he still produced some of the greatest educational records. Yes, his methodology wasn't probably something you'd have in school, but you don't start opening up a whole college course and university study on an individual who didn't make a difference. And it was that where I went, that's interesting. But then I went, hold on, I need to open these doors a bit wider here. Like Eminem's now becoming something of the past. What the fuck is this? So then all the other music came in, you know, and there was some massive influence, as you know, on the channel that then got me to go in all different directions, which is dangerous because then you get loyal fans go, oh, do more this and do more that. And it's, oh, shit.
That's probably a good segue into what we're looking at today. We didn't know it at the time, but our paths were set on course to cross with your first introduction to Ren, which was when you reacted to Hi Ren, wasn't it?
It was, man. It was. Hi Ren fucked me up. Hi Ren gave me a different tone. I think because I suppose, how do I word that? Let's get this in the right way. It put me in hyper focus, absolutely. But I felt like I was in coaching mode where I'm like, where the fuck's that coming from? Because I could hear things like fight and flight, resistance state. This, I was hearing all these behaviors. I thought, I know that shit. That's what I do day to day. This dude is talking some serious language, but through this ADHD comical visual representation. So I'm being triggered here and triggered with this logic as well. And that fucked me up. You know, and you see that, and people say, oh, you know, he's silent and that. Yeah, because my brain was going, what the fuck is happening here?
I've created an abridged version of your first reaction, about 6 minutes long. Shall we have a look together? I cut out the whole middle bit of the song where you basically sat in stunned silence. I think it's the quietest I've ever seen you, maybe the quietest you'll ever be.
Yeah. Hey, I made this beat, man. So
when you play the beat. A brainiac effects.
old school as well, man.
Myself, Mike Hector, what we reacted to now? Hi Ren, Hi Ren, Hi Ren, Hi Ren, Hi Ren, Hi Ren. Okay? I'm doing it. I'm fucking doing it. I have seen the 7 bajillion thousand million comments of yourself saying, Hector, you need to react to Hi Ren. I want to see your reaction to Hi Ren. Hector, I know you've just done Led Zeppelin, but we need Hi Ren. I want to know how you're going to dissect Hi Ren, your psychological profiling of individuals using your mindset of study of the human behaviors. I need you to dissect Hi Ren.
Have you ever reacted to one of your own reactions before?
I've done a couple, but more plays out. So when in work and people playing them and that, yeah, I don't mind them. But I remember the frustration here because this was in the era where it wasn't just Ren. I was getting so many people with like, you got to do this and you got to do that, and I've still got loads now. And it was just this, all right, I fucking get it. I'm doing it. But I had no idea this was about to happen. So everything here was just like, all right, I do it. And in my head, I honestly thought in my heart of hearts, it was going to be one of those moments where I'm going to watch it and be like, okay, it's not bad. But then I just sort of let it drift away because I don't want to upset people. So that's why in my head, it was frustration. But in my head, it's like, it's probably going to be shit because I hadn't heard everything positive. I just heard interpretations and opinions. So right now I'm like, oh, I'm doing it. But in my head, I probably thought it was going to be another one of those throwaway moments. And clearly fucking wasn't.
And you had managed to steer clear of the song up until that point?
Say it again. So, oh, steer clear. Yeah. And I'd completely steered clear. And I think I think I'd started one day. This is how it works sometimes. I set up and I'm ready to go. And I click record and I'm about to go. And then for some reason I just go, nah, I'm not in the mood. And I'll just stop recording because I know it's going to be a disingenuous recording. And I'm not doing that. I refuse to be like that. So I think that came up a couple of times. And I think that's why when you're hearing this frustration, there's an equal measure of me going, you know what? You're fucking doing it. You're going to sit here. You'll get through it. Job's good.
Ren, so here the fuck I am. It's better be worth it. That's all I'm saying to everyone. This better be fucking worth it. It is gonna be worth it. It's fucking 9 minutes. I'm gonna die. Oh, okay. So, Hi Ren. I'm a little bit excited because of the amount of people requesting this. So let's just fucking do this. Woo! That reminds me like a game. Do you know the game from Rockstar, Manhunt, with Pigsy? It's a fucking game, man. It's sinister as fuck.
Oh, that's his dark, man. That's a dark game. I'm an OG gamer now, so Red Dead Redemption 2 just to put me to sleep. But Manhunt was one, and I think straight away that sparked my curiosity because that to me is again something else I hyper focused on. So when I saw that, it was all these wins were taking place, and that's why this whole journey is bigger than people assume.
A little bit spooky. Oh, that reminded me of Slash, Give In To Me. Dun, dun,
I was just thinking that.
No.
That's
I was just
funny.
thinking my own fucking statement there. I was like, oh, that's Slash, Give In To Me. Legend.
I like the dude's style as well.
Woo! Ah, that's still fire. Ah, fucking that's naughty.
Oh, is it rock music, man?
It's something about it, man. It's because like obviously now I've learned he's so melodic and he's so natural with it. But it's again, I keep referring to the same artist, but there's a reason why I like Tupac because he squeezes in everything. So there's a sentence and you think it's finished right. Mises does the same, where you think the rhyme's finished, but then he adds another syllable. You go, that's no we. But then there's another three, and you go, well, that's fucking with me now because it shouldn't work. Ren does that with the instrument where it's like, fuck, he's like, no, I'm not happy with what it's an ADHD thing. I'm not happy with one note. You're going to have another fucking 12 and I'm going to make them fit and you're going to love every second of it.
Time for that. I don't know why.
It's strange because a lot of reactors I've seen don't understand the yodeling part. They think it's humorous, or even almost mockery of mental health. But straight away you were locked into it. You were like, I get that.
Yeah, no, and absolutely not. It was just I think because the tune is so inviting where I'm like, okay, bro, you got my attention. And then you got this you can hold a note. So obviously I've come from you. I'm like, that dude's holding a note. So straight away, you've got me. This dude sings and he plays guitar. If this dude's gonna fucking rap and he's dressed up like a nutty villain from this Manhunt game, I mean, that's like breakfast for me. I'm fucking ready.
Hi there, Ren. It's been a little while. Did you miss me? You thought you buried me, didn't you? Risky. Cause I always come back. Deep down, you know that. Deep down, you know I'm always in periphery. Ren, are you pleased to see me? It's been weeks since we spoke, bro. I know you need me. You're the sheep, I'm the shepherd. Not your place to lead me. Not your place to be biting off the hand that feeds me.
Oh!
Hi, Ren. Do we out here?
I cut out the middle section of the song because you were just listening to it, barely able to utter a single word.
It's so good, and again, it's the inflection in voice is just so clever, and it's the hyperactive that goes with it, and it just excites when you're listening. I think because when I record as well, I get it, and he knows they're good bars. He's not fucking stupid, and you go, he's being modest. No, he knows they're good bars, so he knows when the energy needs to go into it. There's all these subtle techniques, and even now I'm watching it again, reacting in the same way. I just watched me get excited at the me part at the same time I'm getting it. I'm like, yes, bro, of course that's exciting because it's fucking beautiful. And I don't think did I do a second reaction to this? I can't remember if I've done a second one. I probably have spoken about it, hence why it's in my head. And I haven't listened to it in a long time because there's so many other Ren tracks. So many I'm still invested in, and other artists as well. So it's nice to hear this. It almost feels fresh again. So it's actually nice to watch. I feel you, bruv.
That was fucking amazing. Creatively amazing and clearly very. There's songs I need to go back and dissect. There's songs where you need to go back and do that. And at the beginning I said I'm gonna do that, but my internal being is saying no. Absolutely not. That doesn't need to be dissected. That just needs to be heard.
Fuck
That's
right.
literally all that needs to happen with this song is you just need to listen to it. I get the concept, spending a majority of his time being stuck in his own mind of what's real versus fake, the Jekyll versus the Hyde. I mean, that fucking rhymed a lot, by the way. The Jekyll and Hyde, but not quite understanding which is which, and then that deeper inner voice that keeps sneaking out.
I bet everyone can remember their first time with Ren. He left you speechless.
Yeah, and I can tell you now because what it was, I actually did, but I had, and this will be, the understanding, but with ADHD, and there was so much I wanted to say because what you'll hear is as I'm repeating it, I'm remembering some of the bars. So these are ones that hit like, oh, and that was obviously during where you would see me go fucking hell, but not say anything or pause it. But that bar sticks in my head, the Jekyll and Hyde, the vibes, and everything that goes into it. So what was happening there is, and I work in vision that I'm seeing all of this shit. But there was so much. It wasn't like there was a theme. There was fucking all sorts. Because now I wanted to talk about what I study. I wanted to talk about behavioral science. I sense the vibe with ADHD. I'm starting to have that common. All this dialogue's in my head, and I know that now this is going to go down for another 7 hours. So it's almost like, you know what? That's got my attention because you got to remember, I've gone into this with this like, this is a throwaway. This is we'll see how this fucker goes. But then all of a sudden it's like, okay, you've caught me fucking well off guard there because I to go back, I knew what that was gonna do. And it was like, I gotta rest because I wasn't ready for that, man. I gotta go fucking warm up over it before I go any more into that, which is crazy. As I'm seeing it now, I'm remembering that whole thought. But obviously, I'm recording and I can't have that. But there was, you see that demeanor of my logical side trying to appreciate the song. And there's another side going, I want to go back and do that. But then this logical side going, Hector, that's fucked you. You got to walk away for a second. That's what music does to a mindset that's creative when it's that good. It really fucks with your brain that you have to go take a breather. And that was one of those moments.
I'm going to give that the respect that deserves by not mocking it. I just wanted to listen. That's the quietest you're ever going to fucking see me. Okay. I'm not going to dissect. I'm not going to laugh about it. I'm not going to sit here fucking analyzing bars left, right, and center. That's something that just needs to be heard and just rested on. You know, I could go down the psychological route. I could do that. I could talk about emotion turmoil versus logic and him fighting that little bit at the end when he's talking about himself versus himself, saying about there are some victims, there are some students. So, you know what I mean? People that learn from that and grow from it. And there's people that just become continuous victims based on that psychological warfare referred to. We can go down that route.
Lad.
Okay. But I'm not going to. I don't want to because I just think that was something that needed to be absorbed. What a fucking great track. What a really fucking intelligent track. And he's right. I have heard that before. I think musically, the song Jordan by Complete, I linked better to that one. Exactly the same concept and came out before Hi Ren. If you haven't listened to that, go find it.
A year and a half on. Do you stand by that comment? Does it still feel true to you?
Probably not now. I've had the time to invest, but I think and again, go back to the beginning with it's taking me by surprise. It's going on that journey, and the Jordan Complete track That individual, his one was linking with trauma, not learnt. And you know, Hi Ren obviously has got the ADHD, but there's also a lot of personal issues that he's going through, which obviously is where I would be in coaching mode. Whereas with the Jordan one, I got it. And I'm like, dude, if this song was called Hector Complete, it still would resonate perfectly. And if you haven't seen that, you'll see the correlation between the two, where he's having a conversation with himself, very similar, and you know, cleverly done. Would I say that Ren is, now I've listened to him more linked to me? Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. But that was an investment of time. This one I fucking wasn't ready for in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, it's a hard one, because I have a lot of love for that Jordan Complete track as well. It's a good, emotionally intense one as well. Yeah.
And Ren's?
It's more education, I feel. It's not him just laying out, you know, just his trauma. There's also trauma and the learn, and you can hear coping mechanisms. You can even hear his psychologist discussions, or the therapist, or the people he's seen. You hear the language, because you know, you deliver the language when you're in this position. So that's where it was resonating. It almost felt like, you know, as a teacher, this was someone's interpretation of what you've just said out loud in rhyme. And you're like, fucking hell, that's an investment of thought. Whereas with Complete, it was like, oh, that's emotions. That's hitting me just in the feels, the end. That's it. So I suppose it's that logic versus emotions again, how the two are hitting.
I know that some people have accused Ren of just copying the concept.
No, bollocks. It's impossible. And this is where the fucking this fucking idiots, because you're delving into a realm that you've gone on your journey. Now, the bit that annoys me is you've only got to look at the fan base of Ren. Everyone gets it because they've gone on something similar, whether it's, you know, coping mechanisms, internal anguish, you know, ADHD, neuroscience, etc., etc. They've gone through that. The people that challenge it are the ones that, as you're watching them, they're not invested. They're not they're doing it because, oh, it came up on trending and I'm going to get 10,000 views, or I'm doing it for the wrong purpose. And then they have an opinion, which they're entitled to, but it becomes this that's correct. He must be doing that. No, mate, you just don't get it. And that's cool. You don't have to get it. But just because you didn't get it, you don't then flip it and say, I was using that. No, just say you're thick as shit and you can't connect with that. I'll go to another track. It's fine. I'd respect you more if you said that. To say he's using it, I'm sorry, there's far too many tracks. Too much in there for this person to not have a lived experience. It's fucking stupid to even assume that.
And it maybe borrows from Guilty Conscience, but that's music, isn't it?
Well, like, fucking hell, like, we're a direct influence of what we're raised by. A lot of the tracks I do have an influence of tracks that I listen to. The Eminem vibe of comedy, of talking to self, having ad-libs in the background. It's all an influence. So of course he's going to have influence. Fucking hell, that's how we're raised. People want this fucking unique little light bulb that comes up made from that, but then no one would fucking connect to it. It wouldn't make any sense. Oh, people are just...
And Ren addresses it himself, right in the song, talking about Eminem and Plan B that instantly disarms the opponent.
Yeah. And there's, now what? Now I go, wow, there's other things. I'll be back to you in a minute. It's like, oh, fuck off. Do you know what I mean? If you can't say it now, then you haven't got it. That twice. I personally connected with that one more, so that's what made it hyped. But this one was very, very creative, and the changes in structure and music is really smart as well. And that ending piece is very, very articulate and very smart as well. Ren, fucking hell, there's more songs I could see there. There's one called Sick Boy. Oh, you had no idea, mate. You kept me quiet for an entire track, mate. So that's fucking winning, surely. Fuck. Little did I fucking know, man. Yeah, like, it's just like seeing him thinking I'm being Billy Big Balls. Oh, there's a couple more there. This will be good. And I remember, I think I came away from that track and talking to people about it, whether it's the missus or the kids. I think I normally message my boy if I found new ones. My daughter's more into the singing ones, but that's where Victor Ray came from. So I get a lot of influence there. and I went, have you seen this Ren dude? And my boy Danny hadn't heard of him. I was like, you got to have a listen, man. Dad's just heard this fucking dude that is blowing my dome. And my son made reference to NF, so he's a massive NF fan. He's the one that influenced on a couple of tracks. So there was that, and I was like, yes, bruv, it is. It's the personal trauma, but you could tell there's the psychology background of someone has influenced through counseling his understanding that he's taken on a journey of his own, and you've brought it to life in music. So you could hear some of these artists that I've already unpacked, where I'm now making these logical connections like, fucking hell, that's another victim. That's another one that's rapping about it. It seems to be something that happens more often now. A hell of a lot. You think of the best artists, they're always talking about their lived trauma, and they are the ones people connect with the most. Eminem, Tupac, you go through NWA from a culture perspective, you go through all these people. It's a lived experience of pain that they've had to go through that journey portrayed on a record. That is where the fucking, and then you got some tosser singing shit about stuff that has no link in, and that's got 80 million views because it's a party track. And you're like, but what did you learn from that? I didn't learn anything. Then you're a fucking idiot. So, do you know what I mean? It's just like, come on, man.
I dunno, we want music to make us feel something. And sometimes we just want a party track, right? I think the more meaningful tracks where the artist is laying out what they have been through, that's when you get that connection with the listener and the community. Yeah. And people are able to take that artist's experience and impose it upon the shit that they've been through. And it helps them understand themselves, doesn't it?
Yeah, agreed. And I probably put in mouth there an hour and word in that, but even party tracks have meaning. So, if you think about, there's a song that comes on, everybody knows. There's a song that comes on, so there's this influence. What I mean is where it's this falsified version. I mean, like I don't know, it was this fucking Sexy Red shit that come and went as quickly as she come and went. It's the same mechanism where it's like, what's your purpose? Why are you here? You're an influence of money. That's it. And you can, but then it's got this whole backing and on tour and everybody's noticing. And I'm like, okay, all that time invested here. If you invested that in Hi Ren, A, you'd learn. B, you'd be intrigued, and C, there's not this weird shit going with it where your TikTok generation's fucking with the minds. That's not party, mate. That's removing brain cells. That is.
Okay. Let's move on to my reaction to the same song, Hi Ren. I put this one out a few months after yours, and it was around the time when we were starting to see 50 or 60-minute reactions, which is cool and it works with this song and this fan base. But you started to hear some reactors trotting out the same old lines, and this was a bit of a cynical response to that. And the very first line in my reaction was a bit of a funny thing too. Ren put a cryptic post on his YouTube community tab, something about doctors, and then removed it almost immediately. There was a lot of speculation about what it might mean, and my reaction was due to go out that same day, so I added it verbatim as my first line to fuel the rumors of who I might be.
Oh, definitely, man. Oh, I'm buzzing for this, mate. I don't think I've seen your reaction to this at all, even just a snippet of it.
Been busy with doctor's stuff, but finally had time to sit down and write a little something. Video Friday. In the meantime, we are going to be reacting to a song called Hi Ren, by some dude called Ren. I have never heard of him before, so it looks like this song was released just over 2 years ago on December 15, 2000 and flobbery boo. And in that time it has amassed just shy of 42 billion streams on YouTube alone. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump right in.
You're so iconic though, man. And this is, you got to appreciate this. The thought process in Disco Doc is something that sits with me. And again, ADHD, I hate fucking repeating it, but it is that because it's something so unique that when I first saw you and saw your channel and stuff, like when we did the rap battles and all of this going on, and I'm sure we'll talk about later, but it got to the point where it was like, that is you. It's not like, oh, I'm talking to an AI. No. I'm talking to Disco Biscuits. That is Disco Duck right there at the end, and that's it. And I know that you've got a Miss Disco Duck. Apologies, I've got that wrong. But there's another ego in there, and I was like, it's fucking amazing. It's such an amazing concept. So I'd love to interview you about where the fuck that came from.
I'll tell you something ironic. You could say that I'm hiding behind these characters, but in the same way that you feel able to just let it all hang out, just be yourself, just say to the world, this is who I am. In a really weird way, my channel, the characters, the whole expression of the community built around it, couldn't be any more me. It's purely me.
Yeah. It's amazing, bruv. And it's such a good, how you've just linked that to, this as an outward energy, almost like that. I don't know, the fucking rebuttal of a difficult week, or get it out there. This is your way of doing. I get it, man. And that's even more beautiful, man. I love it. I love it.
Hi Ren, ha 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 ha. Whoa, what in the pig's head is all this? I don't eat pork myself. I was only pastafarian, but now I am a dedicated vegetarian. Is he really in a wheelchair? Is he even a sick boy? Does he come from Londonton, Ingerband? So many questions. Let me know in the comments. Right. I am actually going to hit play now. And remember, I have never, ever seen this video before. Despite the fact that everyone on Earth has, if we look at the numbers, statistics or stats. This is a completely genuine first watch, together with you guys. Ah, you guys.
It's just that first time reacting bollocks and all of that people give. I fucking hate it, mate. I hate it. And I think, when with your knowledge and I know my experience, there are times I watch reactors and I say nothing because there's a community and it's massive and it's this, that, and the other. And I'm sorry, I go bullshit. It's all in the motion. If it's, you can almost see it coming. And it's like, you shouldn't see it coming. That's the fun. It should just suddenly, as I'm in the middle of oh, fuck. Even as I'm watching Hi Ren again, there was moments there where I'm reacting in exactly the same fucking position with mine because it's something that's natural. But there are times where, and especially when I see dissections where I miss bars or I'm not getting it, I don't know, it's far too obvious that there's previous knowledge, and I get it. I understand there's a fear factor of missing things. It makes it disingenuous though, and that's the part that gets me. So yeah, I get a tongue-in-cheek with this first time hearing bollocks, man. It's like, yeah, all right, yeah, okay. Of course it is.
It's funny because when I create my reaction videos, obviously I am able to do research, look stuff up, join dots, create tenuous links, go off on tangents, which clearly I wouldn't be able to do if I was just sat there streaming live. However, when I write the script so that I can record Doc's words, that is still coming my genuine gut reaction to the song and my thoughts being dumped straight onto the screen, quite unfiltered. I'm always happy to say if I'm not keen on a track, like with Ren's latest Money Ties, where I said I felt the musicality suffered a little at the expense of the message.
Yeah. And I think that's good. I haven't heard any of the new ones yet from Ren, or new one or two. I think there's a Bittersweet Symphony one he's redone or something. I haven't heard that either. But yeah, that's interesting. I think I've always been like that as well. If something doesn't resonate, I'm careful sometimes if I'm in older generation music. Sometimes I've been sent certain bands and groups. And there's such, like Ren, there's a massive calling for it, and I've listened to it, and it just doesn't hit. And it's not that I want to put out a fake. I don't. I'm just not interested. I stopped recording because I'm bored, and I just know my brain is going to be like this, and people are like, "What's wrong?" And I got to explain that. No, I don't want to ruin that for someone, man. Just fucking end it. It's gone. There's a couple of tongue-in-cheek ones, but they're normally the absolute shite ones. Or if I find myself just pissing myself laughing at it and it's still an entertaining reaction, then yeah, that will stay. But yeah, there's ones where I'm just like, nope, I'm tapping out because my brain is just like, fuck that.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on just a mini salami. This song is over 9 minutes long? Who the fuck does this guy think he is? Is he still in the Facebook generation or something? Has he not heard of TikTok? Does he think we all have the attention span of a Victorian globetrotter? Even Hamlet only has 29,000 words, and that was the longest stream of consciousness Shakespeare was able to dribble out. Does this Ren mush think that
I have not seen this at all, man, so I'm loving it.
if so, he must have some sort of fucking god complex leaking out of him. Next he'll be telling us he's the next Jimi Hendrix, that he deserves a Grammy, or even that Oprah Winfrey should be paying attention to his songs, which are probably self-centered and all about how much he hates himself. Trust me. People aren't going to watch a reaction video that is 15 or 20 minutes long. No way I'm listening to this shizzle. Goodbye for now, interwebs.
Bruv, man, I love it because I know the average watch and views. I see that, man, and I don't give a fuck. But people only take what they need. But it's your humor, bruv. It's so fucking dry, but it hits the mark. And it's when you put some of those F-bombs in there, man, they're comedy timed, where it just tickles me in those moments. And I don't know if it's the voice or the face that's making me laugh. It's fucking genius, mate. The concept is just, I love uniqueness. So good on you, man.
Sometimes in my real life someone might not get my humor or say that I'm not funny, and I love that I can say, let's turn to my 4,000 subscribers and ask them, shall we?
Exactly, man. Exactly. Hey, I think you're fucking hilarious, mate. I'm easily tickled, though. That sounds weird, but I am easily tickled. But easily, I can switch off. So you've kept my attention with that. So I love it.
Thank you. That means a lot. Well, I've had loads of fun, and I look forward to our next video where we will be reacting to each other's songs.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
Scatters when you play the beat. A brainiac, in fact, psychotherapy.